Hi everyone, this lesson is about drinks you should not drink. If you have an enlarged prostate, a lot of the beverages we're going to talk about in this lesson have been shown to either worsen symptoms of an enlarged prostate or increase the risk of getting prostate cancer. So it's best to avoid the following beverages, and I'm going to talk to you about what each of them does with regards to prostate health. So the first category of beverages we're going to talk about in this lesson is 1. So alcohol is one category of beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate because alcohol acts as a diuretic, meaning that it increases urination or frequency of urination, and it does this by inhibiting the release of antidiuretic hormone, also known as vasopressin. So this is the reason why alcohol causes diuresis. So because it increases frequency and volume of urination, it's going to increase and exacerbate the symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia or BPH, which is also the medical term for an enlarged prostate. So best to avoid alcohol in drinks that contain alcohol, including beer, wine, and spirits along with other alcoholic beverages. So again, it's best to avoid alcohol if you want to reduce symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia or an enlarged prostate because alcohol acts as a diuretic, increasing frequency and volume of urination. So it's going to increase those symptoms of an enlarged prostate like urgency and nocturnal urination or nocturia, so best to avoid alcohol. 2. Caffeine categories of beverages to avoid. If you have an enlarged prostate, come from this article entitled Intake of Caffeinated, Carbonated, or Citrus Beverage Types and Development of Lower Urinary Tract Symptoms in Men and Women. So one category of beverages that is best to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate is caffeine because caffeine also acts as diuretic. For similar reasons to why we want to avoid alcohol, caffeine acts as a diuretic, so you want to avoid it because it increases urination, including frequency and volume, which can exacerbate symptoms of an enlarged prostate or BHP. So you want to avoid drinks like coffee, tea, and soda pop. Again, you should avoid caffeine because it is a diuretic that makes you urinate more often and in larger amounts. This will increase the likelihood that you will experience lower urinary tract symptoms brought on by a large prostate. Some drinks that contain caffeine include caffeinated coffee, tea, and soda pop. 3. Dairy products beverages that is best to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate because high consumption of dairy products may be associated with an increased risk of prostate cancer. So there is some evidence that suggests that high consumption of dairy products through its alteration in intestinal bacterial populations can lead to increased risk of prostate cancer. So it's best to avoid dairy beverages like dairy milk cream and other dairy beverages, shakes that contain dairy milk. So again, it is best to avoid dairy products because there may be an associated increased risk of prostate cancer with high consumption of dairy products. It is best to at least limit your consumption of dairy products, and that includes dairy milk cream and other dairy beverages. Another category to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate is carbonated beverages. The reason is because carbonated beverages are known to cause bladder irritation, and again, it all comes down to the effect on symptoms of an enlarged prostate. The bladder irritation causes increased urinary symptoms, including exacerbation of symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia or an enlarged prostate. Symptoms like increased urinary frequency and urgency, bedtime urination or urination at night, also known as nocturia, and issues getting started with urination are those types of symptoms, so it's best to avoid carbonated beverages. 4. Soda pop and other sparkling beverages are best avoided because anything that is carbonated causes bladder irritation. Again, carbonated beverages are probably best avoided or at least limited if you have an enlarged prostate due to their effect on the bladder. They can irritate the bladder, and bladder irritation can cause increased urinary symptoms, including increased symptoms associated with an enlarged prostate. The next category of beverages to avoid if you have an enlarged prostate include certain fruit juices, and when I say certain fruit juices, I mean acidic fruit juices. The reason is because acidic fruit juices may irritate the bladder, and as we mentioned before in the last slide, bladder irritation can lead to worsened symptoms of an enlarged prostate, increased urinary frequency and urgency. So what are some acidic fruit juices? This include orange juice, lemon juice, and grapefruit juice. However, having said all that, there is some mixed evidence here Although acidic fruit juices may irritate the bladder and may worsen symptoms associated with an enlarged prostate, there is some evidence to suggest that juices like orange juice may actually improve lower urinary tract symptoms, as was mentioned in the article I quoted earlier on in this lesson. I wanted to mention that acidic fruit juices may be a cause of worsened prostate symptoms. So if you do find that when you're drinking orange juice or grapefruit juice and you're having worsened symptoms, it may be the cause, and it may not be a bad idea to actually try to reduce or limit your consumption just to see if it actually helps. But you can actually find that a lot of these juices like orange juice and grapefruit juice have a lot of vitamin C in them, which has been shown to be beneficial in prostate health as well. So there's a little bit of mixed evidence here, but for completeness sake, I wanted to mention that certain fruit juices like these types of acidic fruit juices may actually lead to worsened prostate symptoms, but they may not as well. So if you want to learn more about other foods to avoid, please consider liking, subscribing, and clicking the notification bell to help support the channel and stay up to date on future lessons. Thanks so much for watching.